Hello and welcome to Super Great Kids Stories, wise tales from storytellers around the world, which will make you laugh and sometimes cry. Recommended for ages 5 to 105. I'm Kim and I love stories. Hello, Super Great Kids, and how are you? I'm very happy because Kate Corkery and Super Great David and I met some of you on Saturday, and that gives us such a buzz. Some of you asked if we're going to do a show in the US or in Ireland. Well, we'd really love to, and we are hugging that dream. Possibly next year when our book comes out. Fingers crossed. Our story today is from the US. It's from the Cherokee Nation. There are over 500 tribal nations in the United States, each with their own cultures, languages, and ways of life. But one thing they all have in common is storytelling. Each tribe has their own stories, and they pass their histories and beliefs on through those stories. The storyteller is Lisa La Rue Baker, who is a Cherokee Indian. Lisa lives in the state of Kansas, in a place called Topeka, which just happens to be a town where I lived for a year when I was an exchange student. She teaches children and grown-ups how to weave baskets and how to make corn dolls, and she tells them stories while they weave. Corn dolls are little dolls which are made from corn husks, the part of the corn that we don't eat. People have been making them and children have been playing with them for hundreds of years. This story came from Lisa's friend Sequoia. It's a how and why story, and it's called Why the Corn Doll Has No Face. Just before we hear from Lisa, I have a question for you. Can you think of something which you made yourself, which you were really proud of? It might be that you made a corn doll, or maybe a picture of a story you were inspired by, or maybe a model of a Nancy the Spider out of pipe cleaners. Have a think about something you've made or drawn or woven that you were very pleased with, while we have a quick word with the grown-ups. Ready? Off you go. Hello, Super Great Kids, I'm back. Did you remember anything that you made that you were pleased with? I remember knitting a little skirt and a stripy jumper for my teddy, which I was very pleased with. And once, me and my brother built a Lego model of Big Ben, a famous clock here in London. I was so pleased with that, I didn't want to break it up again and put the Lego away, so it sat on our table for a very long time. If you have a picture of something that you've made that you're very pleased with, then send it to storyowl@supergreatkidstories.com. And now, it's time to give a very warm welcome to our storyteller, Lisa La Rue Baker.
OCO, Super Great Kids. This is Lisa. And you remember, OCO means hello in the Cherokee language. I love to tell our traditional stories to all children, and all of these stories come from way, way back a long time ago, so far back nobody remembers when. So this story is about corn husk dolls. Cherokee boys and girls learn to make corn husk dolls, and corn husk is the natural wrap around an ear of corn. They are green and peel back from the corn. You've probably seen it. In between the husks and the ear of corn is a long strand of yellow corn silk. If you let the husks dry, they become beige in color and very, very strong. We can make dolls with it when it is green and then let it dry, and then you can play with them for a very long time. But the dolls have no face, no eyes, no mouth, no nose. Do you know why? I'm about to tell you. The old people tell us way back in the very beginning of time, the first Cherokee woman was named Selu. Selu. Selu means corn in the Cherokee language. I guess you could call her Corn Woman. Her body was made from a big ear of corn, and the corn husks made her clothes. Her hair was long strands of beautiful silk, corn silk. Being the first woman, she had lots of work to do. She planted the gardens, tended the gardens, picked the food, cooked the food, built the house, cleaned the house. Oh my! She became very, very tired and very fast. She asked Unetlanvhi, the great one who lived in the sky, if he could help her out. Unetlanvhi, is there any way there could be little helpers come down from the sky to help me with all of my chores? Unetlanvhi saw how hard she was working and realized it would be important to send helpers for Selu. He must give her some time to rest and regain her strength. Unetlanvhi told Selu to take a bit of her corn silk, some corn kernels, and some of her corn husk and leave them by the warming fire. She did. The next morning, she awoke and stretched and yawned and started to bundle herself in the blanket again, and then she remembered, I wonder what Unetlanvhi did with the corn I left by the fire. She got up, straightened her corn husk clothes, and brushed her long corn silk hair and went to the fire. There she saw a group of little corn people made from the corn husk and corn silk. These are your helpers, Selu, said Unetlanvhi. Selu was so excited about having helpers. She gave each one of them instructions. You go to the creek and fill these water jugs, Selu said to one. You go pick up the morning berries, she told another. She had a job for each one of them while she prepared to make breakfast, clean her dishes, and then clean her laundry. She prepared the fire for breakfast and waited and waited and waited. She began to get a bit angry. Where could my helpers be? She wondered to herself. Meanwhile, as the little corn husk people approached the creek, they looked into the water and realized they could see their reflection. They started primping and pinching their cheeks to make them glow and fussing with their corn silk hair. Look how beautiful I am, said one of the helpers. I am cute, said one of the others. They just couldn't quit looking at themselves. Before they knew it, the sun started going down. We better hurry home. When they arrived, Selu was very angry with them. You were supposed to help me. Where were you? Why didn't you do the chores I asked you to do? The corn husk helpers told her what they discovered at the creek. Oh, tomorrow I will give you another chance, but do not go to the creek. She decided she would get the water and send them on other chores. But the next day, on the way to their chores, they had to go by the river. When they looked in the river, they saw their reflection again. And again they spent the day playing with their corn silk hair, smiling and giggling because they discovered they were pretty. They couldn't stop looking at their reflection. When they got home at the end of the day, Selu was not angry. Instead, she was crying because she was so disappointed. Instead of scolding them, she talked to the Great One, Unetlanvhi, and asked for help. The next morning, Unetlanvhi gathered the corn husk helpers and told them, From now on, you will have no features on your face, no eyes, no mouth, and no nose. This is because you have been vain, only worried about how you looked, not about the chores you were given to help others. So you see, this is why the corn husk dolls we make do not have any faces, so that we always remember it's not about how we look, but how we help one another.
Oh, thank you so much, Lisa, for sharing that story. You can see some of the pictures of the corn dolls made by Lisa on our Facebook page, facebook.com/supergreatkidsstories. Corn dolls are made in the US and also in Europe, particularly in Central and Northern Europe. Many years ago, some people believed that the spirit of corn lived in the cornfields, tucked away amongst the ears of corn. And they worried that once the plants were all cut and harvested, that corn spirit would lose its home. So, at harvest time, the person who cut the very last ear of corn made a doll from its husk, which was called the Corn Mother. And she would be kept in a special place to watch over the land until the following year when they were planting seeds again in the spring. And then they'd put her back into the ground to bring a good harvest. Now, it's time to say hello to some owlets who've recently flopped into our nest. Let's start in sunny Southsea in Portsmouth in the UK to hoot hello to super great fan 7-year-old Leo. Leo listens in the car and before going to sleep. He particularly likes the scary stories, with Baba Yaga the Witch one of his favourite characters. He sent us some marvellous drawings, including one of his favourites. You've guessed it, the ghost of the bloody finger. It's a pretty terrifying drawing, Leo. Well done. Let's fly to India next to say hello to new owlet Neona, who lives in Assam. Neona is 6.5 and she's half Indian and half Scottish and particularly loves the scary stories, especially the ghost of the bloody finger and the hairy toe. Neona got up in the middle of the night in India to watch our show. Such dedication. Thanks for that, Neona. It was lovely to meet you, and I hope you slept in on Sunday. Over to Paris in France next with a hello hoot to Ada, who recently turned 6 and got an owlet subscription for her birthday. She absolutely loves the podcast and is making her way through all of the stories. She listens to them while her little sister is sleeping. Well, that's very nice to hear, Ada. I hope you have a lovely summer with people coming to Paris from all over the world for the Olympics. That should be a good one. Over to the US next, to Massachusetts, to say hello to owlets Zoe, who is 7, and Johnny, who is 4. Their favourite stories are Baba Yaga, the Witch, The Name of the Tree, Hey Ho, and Jack and the Two-Headed Giant. They just love to listen while they colour together at the table. And they've sent us a brilliant drawing of the giant from Jack and the Two-Headed Giant. I love the giant's green faces and his checkered trousers and sharp teeth. Eek! Well done, Zoe and Johnny. Let's head west across the US next to Sacramento in California to say hello to superfan Rosie, who is 5 and has been listening since she was 3. Rosie has begun writing her own stories. Great, Rosie. Keep up the good work. She especially loves the super great scary stories and Baba Yaga. And she's very good at doing a squeaky door sound effect. Her current favourite is bone soup. That is a good one, I agree. And I'm told that your mum and dad are also big fans of the stories. Hurrah! We're hooting out all over the world this week, so let's fly next to New Zealand at the southern end of the Pacific Ocean. And let's say hello to Owlets, Darcy, who's 10, Freya, who's 7, and Orlando, who is 1, and Mum and Dad, Lauren and Kim. They all enjoy listening in the car together, and their favourite stories are The Luck Child, Baba Yaga, The Hairy Toe, The Mitten, and Misery. Good choices. And now we're off to Europe, heading to the south of Spain to say hello to Owlets, Elliot, who is almost 4, and Martine, who is 6. They are half English and half Spanish. How lovely is that? They listen to Super Great Kids stories every day and particularly love stories connected with water like River Mama and Marina and Merino. And let's head to the north of the US next, to the beautiful state of Oregon, to say hello to Amos, who is 7, and Ruth, who is 6. Amos's favourite story is Jack and his mother. Amos drew a brilliant picture of Jack and his mother and also of the Sleeping King. And Ruth likes bird stories. Her favourite is Little Half Chick, and she's drawn a beautiful picture of the brave little hummingbird. Thank you both for your super great drawings. And last, but definitely not least, let's fly across to Washington, D.C. and say hello and hoo 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 to Owlet Teddy, who is 6. Teddy's favourite story is The Ghost of the Bloody Finger. Good one, Teddy. Welcome to the club and hello to all you owlets. That's it for Owlet Hellos this week. More next week. And there are so many good pictures being sent in to our Facebook page at the moment. Our Pick of the Week pictures are a beautiful picture from Mirai. Thanks for joining our first ever online show last Saturday, Mirai. I could see you on the screen really concentrating on the stories and enjoying taking part. What a beautiful picture you've sent us of the rainbird. I love the way your characters, the sun and the rainbird, are so bright and bold. The storm clouds look very dark sweeping across the sky, but then there is your warm orange sunshine with its rosy cheeks. Very upbeat, thank you. And thanks to Sophie from Winter Park in Florida, who also joined our show last week and drew River Mama's comb, complete with a shell decoration on the handle and some gemstones, all drawn while Kate Corkery was telling the story of River Mama. Sophie loves listening to Super Great Kids stories every night before bedtime. If you'd like to see these super great pics and lots more, go to facebook.com/Super Great Kids Stories. And thanks very much to all of you who are subscribing to our podcast. If you'd like to support us on Apple Podcasts or on Patreon, we'll say hello to you on the programme. You can hear our stories, advert-free, and you'll get access to our Super Great Kids Stories Express, which are almost pure stories with a lot less of the kimbabble. And you'll have access to over 40 bonus stories and at least 24 super great scary stories. For more information, go to our website at supergreatkidsstories.com. That's nearly it. Another bonus and scary story coming out next week for Owlets. Hoo, 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 hoo. Happy holidays! This podcast was produced at Wardour Studios in fabulous Fitzrovia in London.